I want to get your opinions about, about what the government's reporting versus what the contractor's actually paying. So let her rip.
Well, to your point, I'm going to start off by saying that is a impact factor for that 8th grader sitting in the guidance office, and the guidance counselor, not knowing any better, says, if you want to be a plumber or you want to be HVAC, here's what the government says you're going to earn. But if you want to be a project manager or you want to be a widget manufacturer, here's what they're going to. If you wanted to go into precision machining, here's what you're going to learn, right? And it's nonsense. I've gotten called on the carpet so many times when I was in education because I would say, if you're not a master plumber and earning $100,000, you're doing something wrong. I don't care what those numbers say. That's the minimum. That's like entry level, and higher end journeymen are in that $100,000, $120,000 bracket. So if you're not doing that in today's world, I don't care where the market is. I don't care where it is across the country. If you're not making $100,000, you need to look in the mirror because there's something wrong.
Yeah.
And if you're a journeyman and you're not making 75, 80, 100, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
You're working for the wrong person.
Yeah. Amen. Yeah. I've been banging on this drum for, quite some time in that, and Mike Rowe's been talking about this. There's a lot of influencers talking about this. The Bureau of Labor Statistics, what you're referring to is, the government, the Department of Labor. They got this little division called the BLS, and the hint should be most of the data is the economic data that BLS is responsible for. That's constantly being revised. Like, for example, BLS is responsible for gross domestic product, or GDP. Well, they put a number out, and I'd say 75% of the time it gets revised a couple months later, right? And one of the challenges that I've discovered is that, first of all, the data is old. So when BLS says that a journeyman plumber makes $28 an hour, I think that's what last time I looked at it, national average, it's 2 years old by the time that goes out. And they're collecting all this data by mail-in, right? Which I call junk mail. So, you're right. Junior, senior year in high school, they go to their guidance counselor. Hey, my Uncle Bill is a plumber. He's got a nice truck and he's living in a nice house. And, I'm thinking about doing that. And, they pull out the BLS data and say, well, you can only make about $50,000. And people, young folks in high school, they don't make that connection between, $50,000 and owning, and Uncle Bill, who's a great plumber and he's doing really well. So it's just, we got to change that narrative somehow. We've got to let people know what they're really making. I'm so strong and so aligned with you. This is what I did when I was in education. Every morning when you walked in my classroom, there was a slide deck playing, all the information I needed to communicate with them, what school day it is, what's going on, what's going on in the classroom, what's due. And in that slide deck was pictures that I convinced my supervisor to let me do for professional development. And I went on job sites that had published labor rates, which if it's a prevailing wage job, it legally has to be published, right? It could be published on a job trailer. It might be in the right to know area. And I took pictures of all the ones in Pennsylvania, drove around the whole market area, took pictures, showed the pictures to my supervisor. Here's the work I did today. What are you going to do with them? Come in my classroom, you'll see. And I posted them. They were in one of those slide decks. So I said, you can go look in that garbage on the Bureau of Labor Statistics. You can go look there if you want, but these are the pictures I just took. And guess what? That is what their employer must pay that person. So if it says $49.50 an hour for the plumber and $27.50 for the first year apprentice, they must get paid that. There's no exclusion, right? So if you're $49.50 an hour, I'll let you do the math. There's 2,000 hours. This is what you're going to earn. Yeah.